I am excited for this deck. Okay, we've got blue and white. We don't have any green cards in hand, and we can fix our green with the secret pages, so we will be keeping this. We do only have a single white for purposes of false prints, but we can probably pick up another one soon enough. We can even, if we really need to, say we draw two green sigils in a row, we can actually fetch the white with this one, although it looks like that won't be a problem here. So we're going to have false prints into Stormcaller, probably into secret pages. I doubt that we're going to use a crystallize on turn 5. Alright, so opponent's twinning ritual something. Looks like that was not an echo card. Of course, we drew a double green card. That's okay. We'll get there eventually, and this is useful late anyway because we can like silence a flying blocker. Although we don't have that much flying in this particular deck. Oh, here's a nice one. And we've got the white, blue already, so we can just drop this green sigil. We'll just do everything, sure. No big deal. Turn 3 false prints with a green sigil. Sure. Okay, so the opponent had a nice draw there from second sight. They drew an echo card, and they're gonna put one of the echo cards back. Oh, sorry, they did that on the end step. So they put an echo card back, and then they drew it. So they've got a few copies of that. This is all right. We can attack in here. We're pretty nice to have a 5/5 where the opponent only has a 4/5. So this is the thing they twinning ritualed. So they've got a 3/4 version of this in hand right now. We are going to be dropping I guess a Stormcaller. It's not the strongest play that could possibly be made, but it is on curve, so that's why we're going to go with that. And then next turn, I think we're going to be using secret pages. And we actually do have to use this during our turn, so we'll do it now. If you come from Magic, you would think that abilities like this you could use during the opponent's turn. You can't do that in this game, so you do have to use them basically as a sorcery. I would say that. So gets +1/+1 and flying or endurance. So it's probably getting flying. Oh no, it got endurance. Okay. So we will attack into this anyway because we've got the Stormcaller to finish it off. Another option we would have is to crystallize it. I don't think that's very good. That gets us in for 5 this turn, but then we just put the opponent at like 13 because we can do 5 and we can do 1 with the Stormcaller. So we're better off. We're better off just trying to make the trade. I don't know if the opponent will block. Them giving this endurance suggests that they do want to block, but I don't think it's a very good trade for them. So they may just take the 5 here. Oh, this is a fast spell. How about that? That's pretty interesting. So we're going to shoot the opponent in the face here and drop a sigil. We'll play this. We could have waited on that. We actually should have waited until their turn to do that one, but now we've got it, so we'll go ahead and pass. All right, so they did not want to block with this 0/6 for the same reason they didn't want to block with the 5/6, which is that they would lose it to Stormcaller. So this is going to make our crystallize a little bit better too. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so this turns into a 0 mana frog, and then gets +1/+1 and endurance. So I'm glad we got some attacks in while we had the chance. There's really no reason for them not to attack here. Oh, they're going to get that flying as well. That is a pretty powerful creature, but we can stun this. Or sorry, we can't stun it. We can silence this. We are not going to be blocking here, but we'll just play our Stormlinks anyway. Okay, okay. This puts a sigil, draw a sigil of our choice. So we can have 7 mana this turn. So we're not going to be crystallizing right now, but we can work on our board here. We'll keep the Justice Sigils in the deck for now. The reason for that is we've got a card that will actually draw them. So we'll bring this out and silence that guy. It'll remain a 6/7, but it no longer flies, and we can do this now. We don't really have attack still, because we've only got 2 power creatures. So next turn we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 power and attackers, and we can do 1 with this thing. I guess we could also block here if we wanted, but I think we are not going to block. We would have to use our 3/3 flyer to block that, and we are going to hopefully be able to get the last 2 points of damage, and we can do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage next turn and stun all those. And I believe that they will not get to attack on the opponent's turn, but then they'll ready again. So we'll actually have to hit the opponent's face twice with the Stormcaller to finish the job here. So it looks like we're gonna be 1 point short of killing them in 2 turns. So there's the 9. And unfortunately, our Stormcaller does not do enough damage to pick off any of their attackers here. We'll save the sigils that we've got in hand because we do have some Empower cards. So these are stunned here, but they should ready again on our turn and be able to block. Oh, maybe not. Okay. Well, the opponent is will just be done there. So good for us, I guess. All right, we've got 3 colors. Looking a little bit awkward with some high drops here, but I think we're going to keep this because we've got good mana. And I don't think it... Oh, we want to lead off with white mana when we can. The reason for that is we want to lead with white and blue in case we have the chance to play False Prince on turn 3. Okay, we've got a 1/1 Deadly. I don't think it matters very much which sigil we drop here. Oh, actually, that was wrong. We should have, that was completely wrong. We should have played our double green. So that was a big mistake for me. That keeps us from playing a 3-drop. For some reason, I just imagined this was a 4 also, but it is actually 3. So that was just a huge play mistake on my part. Did that while saying I don't think it matters which sigil we drop. It actually mattered very much. So if you have these kind of strict mana requirements for your deck, make sure you pay attention to them, and especially when all the cards that matter for it are in your hand. So this turn we're just not making a play. This is a massive blunder, and hopefully we don't get punished too bad for that. Looks like the opponent did not make a turn 2 play, so they're not curving out in a super aggressive way, and they're going to be blue-black here, so they're not in super aggressive colors for the most part, although these colors do have the most or all of the infiltrate cards, but it looks like the opponent is not going to be curving out with that stuff. It looks like we also don't have the double blue we would need for Stormcaller, which is unfortunate because the Stormcaller could pick this off. But next turn we're going to be able to play Hunting Terrax. So here we can either Enlighten Stranger or we can Valkyrie Enforcer. This is going to be a 3/3 on our next turn, but this is already a 3/3, and it might be worth it to save the silence, but I think we can go ahead and use it because we can get more value out of Enlightened Stranger later. The other side of that would be like... okay, drawing some cards, that's fine. The other side of that would be like if we play the Enlightened Stranger, we can save silence, and this can actually get up to a 4/4 later. So right now, this is actually not going to get a boost from our sigil we play next turn. So it's going to be 1 smaller at any point than it would have been if we played it now. But I do want to be able to have an attack, and it's a nice blocker there. Although we can actually here get Lumen Defender if we want to. I think we're just going to be flying over, though. Lumen Defender would be nice because it can stop this 4-3, but I think the Hunting Terex lets us be a little more aggressive. And the opponent may attack in with Direfang Spider, although we might just not block anyway, because if they give it +4, +0, and Quick Draw, then we just lose our 5-3. And the opponent has a lot of cards in hand. Although I guess this would die to the Quick Draw spell anyway. We will not block here because we want to be able to attack for 5. Okay, so they're hatching a scheme here. The opponent may be digging for a sigil right now, so that they can hit all their mana drops. Alright, well there's their sigil, so they have used up all the mana. We'll play this as soon as we get the chance to. Alright, we've got a lot of flying here, so we are going to be doing a lot more damage in this race than the opponent is. We are going to send both in. Both, please. Thank you. This, we'll put them to 14. And we have a 2-turn clock currently. We'll save Praxis Displacer right now. So our options are either Lumen Defender to block their 4-3, or we could just get Enlightened Stranger to start growing. I think... If we don't play the Enlightened Stranger, we won't want to play our Sigil this turn. I think we can save the Lumen Defender because the 5 life from this might be a nice surprise. So we'll start doing the Stranger things here. And it's unfortunate that this is not pumping anything else. It's kind of like a bad Awakened student, but it's okay. I mean, we weren't going to do anything else with our turn other than play one minion or one unit. We are probably not blocking their 4-3, but the 1-1 might attack here, and if the 1-1 attacks in, it's a good sign that the opponent has the Quick Draw trick, although they probably will not want to telegraph that they have that trick quite so much. Okay, so we may be returning this to their hand. Alternatively, if we draw a blue sigil, we can attack in with both of these. If they block the 3-3 and take 5, we can Stormcaller this thing after combat is done. So the opponent is offering to trade their 4-3 for our 3-3. Let's take the damage for now. Right now, the play that I'm liking is just using Praxis Displacer to bounce this thing. So there is another blue for us. So now we do have the option of either Stormcaller to finish this or bouncing it. We are also, I suppose, if we want to just offer the trade with 5-3, we can send in with the 5-3 and a 4-4. Do we have lethal right now? We've got 8 and 12. So we don't quite have lethal, and they've got a blocker on the ground anyway. So if we draw another sigil next turn, we can play both of our 4-drops, but I think that trying to get that value possibly next turn is a little more than we need to go for here. And this will get us a lot of tempo because we get to hit for 8 in the air. The opponent is pretty much... They're not really forced to block our 4-4, but I think that they are likely to do it. If they... Yeah, they would go to... oh, give that flying... Sure, so they can chump our 5-3 instead of our 4-4. So they get 1 extra life out of the deal, which is fine. We've got a lot of attackers next turn, so we only need to get in for 6. So even if they block our 5-3 and our 4-4, we can still hit for 6 and then do 1 with Storm Dancer. Or Storm Caller. So I think that we should have this game locked up. But we'll see. The opponent may play 2 blockers this turn. I believe the card that we returned with this was a 5 mana. Oh yeah, there it is. Storm Dancer is a 5 mana 3/4 flying. So they'll have 2 mana left after that. So okay, we will just, well, we'll play the Sigil first so that we can pump this thing. We're going to attack with everything. I believe the opponent is forced to block the middle two creatures, so we'll be able to kill them with the extra 1 damage here. Okay, maybe they've got removal. I think they have, if they don't have removal, I think they have to block those two. Okay, so they do have that. It'll kill our flyer, actually. All right. And they're taking a trade there instead of chumping, which is probably a pretty smart thing to do. We can't play both of our cards, so we'll just do the one that can kill them whether or not they get a bunch of blockers next turn. Right now they have to remove our Stormcaller or die to it. It is a shame that we were not able to play both cards in that turn. We kind of awkwardly had a 5 and a 4 cost card. Okay, so there's a removal. They need a blocker to stay alive, which should not be too tough. So we've got a chump blocker here, and this is great that the 4/4 is going to be forced to chump our 5/5. It's really fantastic for us. So we'll send this in. We are going to save the Sigil here. And we need 2 blockers now, so it's still possible. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's 1 chump, and there's another one. Okay, they've got 2 blockers. They are staying in it. I don't think we have any charge creatures, but our other Stormcaller would be lethal right now. They say well played. So this is probably the end of the game. Okay, so that'll be it. If they had been able to hold out there, there's a good chance that opponent would have been able to pull the game out from there because we pretty much exhausted our hand, and I would guess that the black-blue deck we were facing has more card drawing than we do. That's kind of a weakness of this deck. It's got a lot of versatile cards. Our deck does a lot of different things, but card drawing is not exactly one of them. So I don't think there was any card drawing that we left out of the deck, but I could take another look after this game and see if maybe there's something that we left out that maybe should have gone in. We could get us a little more card advantage. Here's game 3. We have only white mana in hand, and this is one of the downsides of this deck is that we draw the wrong sigils, but that's okay. We get a redraw. And I think almost any hand is going to be better than this one that we're looking at. Okay, so we've got 3 colors. We have Stormlinks ready to go, and we've got this can fetch green sigils, and this can fetch any other color we need, although it does not look like we're going to need the green sigils. We're going to start off with the banner here. And opponent has a 1/1, so they've got a 4/6 in hand. I guess that would have been revealed just a minute ago. I was not paying attention to this part of the screen. So we've got a lot of green sigils in hand, which is fine. We can probably gobble up this 1/1 with our Stormlinks. Rawr! Next turn, I believe we will be dropping a Sky Snapper. Ooh, False Prince, eh? So we could double block this with a Sky Snapper and Stormlinks. We cannot attack in here. Our Stranger is not what we want right now. I think that we can't Stormcaller next turn. Yeah, we're just dropping a Sky Snapper and passing. I'm gonna go see what those dogs are barking about. All right, so we are getting attacked by 5/5 here. Sorry about that. I had to Run into the other room. Yeah, sure. Let's double block. I may have taken the damage there if we had a little more time to think on that. Sorry, I just stepped away for a moment. Alright, so we got a 2-2 flying. This is something we really don't want to hit us, but we don't have an answer to that exactly just yet, so not much that we can do to change that. I believe that we are going to be Amber Acolyting for a blue at some point, but there is a good argument for playing a Spire Chaplain right now, because this will let us get extra damage in. Let's see here. Opponent says, what are you up to? It's unlikely that we'll be playing the Amber Acolyte and the Stormcaller in the same turn. So let's do this now to fetch a blue. And that way we will be... that way, if we need to play the Stormcaller on some turn, we're going to be ready for that. We're probably going to be doing a turn 6 of Stormcaller and Commerce Stranger. And they've got a good couple of attackers here. We do need to... Oh my, that's a concern. We do need to get a flying blocker here, because these things are going to get really big. So we can do this attack very safely. That Chalice is going to be hard to beat from this position. It's a little unfortunate. Here we could play Chaplain and Stranger, or we could just get Lumen Defender. I think we actually, well, we want to play the thing that uses up more mana, so we'll play this one here, even though it's a little less aggressive. The reason, so the Stranger and the Chaplain would put more power on the board, but I want to use our mana effectively, and next turn we can play Stormcaller and Stranger, and then the turn after that we can maybe play something along with Spire Chaplain. Okay, well that was a very interesting play there. We do have safe attacks, although this can stay back to block. Let's see, what are we going to block? We're probably blocking with Stranger if this attacks. So we'll send both of these in. The opponent will not block either one. And here we are actually probably better off playing this Towering Terrazon. Do we drop a Sigil with it? I'm going to play this for sure. I think that we can play Sigil. That's fine. We don't have anything with Empower in hand right now. And we have two more Justice Sigils that we can draw from our deck, I believe. 2 or 3. Alright, so that's a nice play because this can hit us again and make another copy. That's a nice thing to draw too. It's good that we saved the Stranger because now we can draw when we play it. Let's see. There will be no block for any of these, I think. The opponent could like double block this thing, but that seems really unlikely because they would just be trading. And we probably are not going to want to block their 3-2 with this, so we'll keep the 1-5 back for now, but we'll send these 2 in. We are just going to have to race these flyers, which is going to be difficult, but a 6-5 sure helps with that plan. Okay, so we get in for 8. We're going to draw a card here, and hopefully this is a Sigil. It is. So we'll play that. Since we're looking to draw an extra card next turn as well, we want to get as much mana in play as we can. And is this 2-2 staying back? Oh, he may be using Chalice on one of the 2-2s. That makes sense because the opponent will want to draw as many cards with the Chalice as they can. They've got their own Terrazon. It would be nice to have a removal for that. Let's go with a draw card first. See what we get. That is not really any kind of help. So, this will get traded for. Everything else can get blocked by the Terrazon. So, I think we're probably going to lose this one. It is, yeah, they've got enough blockers now that the Flyers are going to be tough to keep up with, and missing this turn of attacking with our 3-3 and our 2-1 is probably going to be enough of a tempo hit that we don't recover from it, and the Stormcaller is not going to help us out very much here at all. So we'll get the one that gives a bonus for attacking, and we'll go ahead and play a Sigil. Why not? Drawing something that makes our strangers bigger would be useful. We don't have a. We've got I believe 5 other cards that interact with those in the deck, and we've got 27 cards there right now. So not very high odds of. Okay, this is not what we wanted. Again, we don't really have attacks that get us through this, so that is gonna be game. We're facing lethal Flyers here anyway, so good job. We'll go ahead and concede here.